It's Wednesday the 13th of September, and we've come to Birchanger Wood and just going into the firewood compound here. All the lovely stacks of dried logs and quite a woodland workshop place here. Amazing. Must be turning most of the wood into firewood by the look of it. Here's Valerie Judge, one of our valued members here, and there's all the other members there, all waiting, being given a guided tour by Pat Forrest. Look at this. And septarian nodules, Hertfordshire pudding stone, woodland workshop area here. Amazing. A lathe. God.
I can feel that the seasons are changing. It's a bit.
And this, of course, is the signature landmark of Birchanger Wood, which is the champagne glass water tower. And round to our right here are some demonstration plots where coppicing has taken place, and you can see something that they have to do here to put these enclosures around the stumps to prevent browsing by muntjac deer.
Yes. You know, if they're on a 30-year cycle, you know, if they're 30 to 40-year-old, you can almost guarantee you're going to get refunds. But when you get something like this, you know, it's a job, and when you're standing there, obviously.
And here we are going in straight into this old hornbeam coppice woodland along this all-weather surface path that's been put in. And it's quite obvious that a lot of these trees have been coppiced over many centuries. These are ancient hornbeams, and several of these, as you can see, are multi-stemmed, and the multi-stem nature shows that they have been coppiced many times in the past, and in some cases they have even developed into individual trees as a result. And it's noticeable that in some areas where the light has been rather more admitted, then you immediately get a growth of bramble and a big increase in biodiversity. This is one of the typical areas, and you can compare the deep shaded forest floor here with where the light has been admitted, and the benefits that coppicing has, and allowing a gladed woodland to develop. And this area has been coppiced in recent times, and you can see the regrowth on the stumps that develops after coppicing. Here is a wonderful example of the bramble phase of regeneration, which would be splendid for all forms of biodiversity, particularly invertebrates and nesting birds as well. Quite a lot of young trees coming up here, young field maple, young hornbeam. Coppicing gives the opportunity for these seeds to germinate and grow. And by contrast, we're coming into what would be called overstood coppice. So this has not been coppiced now for many years, and you immediately see the difference in light intensity coming in through the canopy. And there is a lot of life here, but the life that's here is actually up in the canopy and not so much down at ground level at this point. What is interesting is that as soon as you allow the light into the forest floor, you get a whole rash of young seedling trees coming up. In this case, young hornbeam, but in front of it is an old rotten stump. They've got all the stages here, right from the rotten stump right through to the new seedlings to the next generation of trees. Now we're entering a slightly different area. This is hazel coppice. So obviously not all the wood is hornbeam, and these are hazel trees which have been coppiced. And once again you can see the effect of removing the overshading trees, the effect that it has on increasing the group vegetation in the shrub layer and the ground layer, which is really quite remarkable. So this is hazel coppice that we're in here. Also there's some hawthorn, which may be the Midland hawthorn, possibly.
They've got this dead crayfish.
Oh right.
Oh look, we've got this. Oh, that's quite good at these teenage girls. Are interested in this. They've got it out on their last week. Looked it up with the Google lens. It was a signal crayfish.
Yeah.
It was an amazing looking thing though. And,
It's brilliant to see people interested in that, not just going, ooh. Standing on the bridge looking down to the stream, I've seen one crawling over the bottom.
There's a nice little bit of wood actually. It's in Harlow, bog.
Here we are, just to show how varied this wood is. We're coming back into what you might consider to be high forest now in front of us, and there are hornbeam and oak, and there's also here, we're crossing one of the little bridge areas and ditches which shows us at certain times of the year this it can be quite waterlogged, this woodland. Dead wood habitat has been left, as you can see. Here is a windblown tree, and what is of interest is it shows us what the soil is like here, and it appears to be a looks very much like a decalcified boulder clay, which is probably almost certainly relatively infertile soil, which may well explain why this wood is here. And here we are approaching the well, it's a brook that runs periodically, usually in the winter months. There is said to be London clay in this area, and I suspect this is because the water will collect over the London clay. So this is a sort of brook area here with pendulous sedge and standing water. We've had some heavy rain overnight, and there's the course of the little brook, and eventually go down to meet the river Stort. A very picturesque view through the hornbeam woodland, with the little brook running through the centre. It's actually really quite reminiscent of parts of Epping Forest, but of course the trees are different. And once again here is the course of the, well, it looks like it's been a ditch actually. It's been dug over the years for drainage in the wood, but you can see the soil here where people ride at mountain bikes and such like, and it's this what looks like a rather infertile decalcified boulder clay. And this is just a short detour from the path to look out on the north side of the wood, a bit of Hertfordshire, rolling Hertfordshire countryside. In the foreground is the gravelly soil, which means it's probably not that fertile, a crop of Phacelia, as a bird crop or something of that sort. And then in the distance we've got looking over the north end of Bishop Stortford, and there is the sea of new development. Some people don't like, but there we are. Here we are back in the main wood, and descending once again, heading south this time, and coming into ancient woodland again. And this is we're going to be shortly going to be crossing the stream or brook again. It's made its way down through the wood, and you can see that at certain times of the year this is runs like a torrent. A gravelly bed, and down this way someone's built a bit of a bridge there. You can see that it's quite an interesting wet area there. Now we're coming up to the south side of the wood, and what there is here is an old wood bank, and on that wood bank are some ancient hornbeams. This wood bank would have been set out as a boundary to this wood before the days that Bishop Stortford is as it is today, and the wood bank is plainly visible here, especially where it's been cut through. I think someone's made a profile of the wood bank, probably inadvertently. And there we are, ancient hedgerow trees along this wood bank. So I think in conclusion, we're coming up to the end of the walk. I think we've got to say what a wonderful local community nature reserve this resource is. To have a woodland like this on our doorstep, which is freely available to us all the time. And I think we should congratulate Pat Forrest and his small army of volunteers who work so hard to keep it in good order and keep it as managed woodland. Low down in an old hornbeam with rotten heartwood, there was what we thought was a hornet's nest.